The impossible appeared on Dr. Yuki Tanaka's screen at 3:47 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. She had been monitoring deep space signals from the Mauna Kea Observatory for 7 years, and nothing in her experience had prepared her for what the instruments were showing. A massive collection of objects decelerating from faster-than-light travel near Jupiter's orbit. "This can't be right," she muttered, running diagnostic after diagnostic. But the readings remained unchanged. Dozens of artificial structures, each larger than any spacecraft humanity had ever built, were emerging from what appeared to be tears in space itself. Within hours, every major observatory on and off Earth confirmed the same thing. Humanity was no longer alone, and first contact was happening whether they were ready or not. The objects, soon identified as massive ships, moved in ways that defied conventional physics. Their trajectories were erratic, almost desperate, as if they were struggling to maintain control. As they drew closer to Mars' orbit, more details became clear. These vessels bore obvious signs of damage. Deep gashes marred their sleek hulls, and strange energy emissions pulsed from their cores in unstable patterns. Admiral James Harrison, head of the newly formed Global Space Defense Initiative, stood before the United Nations Security Council 3 days later. The chamber was thick with tension as he delivered his assessment. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're looking at approximately 3 million beings aboard those vessels. Their technology is centuries beyond ours, but they're in serious trouble. Multiple ships show signs of critical systems failure. If they don't receive assistance soon, we could be witnessing the greatest tragedy in known history." Rajesh Patil, India's permanent representative to the UN, leaned forward. "And what makes you so certain they need our help? This could be an invasion strategy." The admiral clicked to the next slide, showing energy readings from the fleet. "Because, Mr. Ambassador, they're bleeding power. These ships weren't designed for long-term space travel. They're colony ships packed with civilians, and they're failing." The debate raged for hours as more data poured in. The fleet's approach had slowed significantly, and astronomical observations revealed why. Several of the massive ships had completely lost power, requiring others to extend energy fields to prevent them from drifting into dangerous trajectories. At the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Director Olivia Washington assembled the world's leading aerospace engineers. "We need solutions, people. How do we even begin to help vessels of that size?" Zhen Wei, a quantum physicist from Beijing University, spoke up. "The real question is, how do we communicate with them? We need to understand what they need before we can help." The answer came sooner than expected. At exactly 12 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time, every digital device on Earth capable of receiving transmissions displayed the same message, a mathematical sequence that translated into the simplest of pleas: "Help us." The message was followed by detailed technical specifications of their ship systems, transmitted in universal mathematical and physical constants. The aliens weren't just asking for help. They were providing humanity with the instruction manual to their technology. Dr. Tanaka, now working with a global team of scientists, made the breakthrough in decoding their more complex messages. The aliens called themselves the Lyrians, and their story was heartbreaking. They were refugees, fleeing from the destruction of their home system by a dying star. Their emergency exodus had forced them to push their ships beyond safe operating parameters, leading to cascading system failures. But it was the next revelation that stunned humanity. The Lyrians had chosen Earth specifically. They had been observing human broadcasts for decades, learning our languages and cultures. They had seen how humans, despite their differences, would often come together in times of crisis to help others. They had gambled their entire civilization on this observed quality of human nature. As the first month drew to a close, the situation aboard the Lyrian ships grew dire. Power failures were becoming more frequent, and the fleet's life support systems were showing signs of imminent collapse. The aliens' decision to trust humanity had placed Earth in an unprecedented position. The survival of an entire civilization now depended on whether humans could rise above their fears and differences to attempt the greatest rescue mission in history. Director Washington stood before her team, now expanded to include experts from every spacefaring nation. We have exactly 2 weeks before the first ships begin critical failure. The world is watching. The Lyrians are watching. Let's show them what humanity can do when we work together. The stage was set for either humanity's finest hour or its greatest regret. As governments around the world mobilized resources and engineers worked around the clock, one thing became clear. This crisis would reveal the true nature of human civilization, not just to the watching aliens, but to humanity itself. The UN General Assembly Hall had never been so crowded. Representatives from every nation stood shoulder to shoulder as the first clear images of the Lyrians were projected onto the massive screen. The aliens were bioluminescent beings with translucent bodies that pulsed with complex patterns of light, their primary form of communication. Director Washington took the podium, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. The Lyrian Central Ship has agreed to a direct video conference. What we learn in the next hour will determine our course of action. The screen flickered, and humanity had its first live interaction with the Lyrian leadership. Their designated speaker, who chose the name Luminaris for human communication, appeared as a tall, ethereal figure whose body rippled with patterns of blue and gold. People of Earth, the translation software rendered their light speech into words. We come before you not as conquerors or demands, but as a civilization in need. Our journey has cost us dearly. The assembly watched in stunned silence as Luminaris shared their story. The Lyrians were a peaceful species that had achieved remarkable technological advancement without ever engaging in warfare. Their society was built on principles of collective knowledge and artistic expression. But their greatest achievement, mastery of quantum communication, had also revealed their doom. Our instruments detected the solar instability decades before visual confirmation. Luminaris explained. We had time to build our arcs, but not enough to perfect them for such a long journey. We believed we could reach suitable colony sites before critical systems failed. We were wrong. Admiral Harrison stepped forward with the hard questions. Your technical data shows weapons systems on your vessels. How do you explain that? Luminaris's body flickered with patterns that the translation software interpreted as both sadness and resignation. The universe is not always kind to peaceful species, Admiral. We maintain defensive capabilities, but our weapons have been powered down since departure. Scan them yourself. We offer full transparency. The next hours brought a parade of experts before the assembly. Engineers confirmed the Lyrian ships were running out of time. Biologists presented studies showing the aliens' physical composition was carbon-based and compatible with Earth's biosphere. Economists calculated the cost of a rescue operation and the potential benefits of sharing technology with a vastly advanced civilization. But it was Dr. Tanaka's presentation that shifted the debate. She had spent days analyzing the Lyrians' quantum communication records. They don't just need our help, she declared. They chose us specifically. Their long-range scans identified hundreds of potentially habitable worlds, but they came here because they saw something in humanity that they recognized. An ability to evolve, to overcome divisions, to help others even at great cost to ourselves. The assembly erupted in heated discussion. Some nations immediately pledged support, while others raised concerns about security, resources, and the impact on human society. The debate reached a critical point when Ambassador Paddle rose to speak. My nation knows what it means to face refugee crisis, he said. We have seen both the best and worst of human nature in such moments. But never before has humanity as a whole faced such a test. Our response here will define our species for generations to come. As the vote approached, a new message arrived from the Lyrian fleet. Their ship's sensors had detected an approaching asteroid field. In their weakened state, they couldn't maintain their defensive shields. Without immediate human assistance, thousands would die in the first impacts. Director Washington quickly assembled a response team. We need a decision now, she announced to the assembly. We can debate politics after we prevent an immediate catastrophe. The emergency vote took less than an hour. Operation Starbridge was approved with an overwhelming majority. Within minutes, space agencies worldwide began coordinating the largest space mission in human history. As teams mobilized, Dr. Tanaka made another discovery in the Lyrian data. Their quantum communications had picked up signals suggesting they weren't the only refugee fleet in the galaxy. Other civilizations were in flight from various catastrophes, watching to see how humanity would respond to this first encounter. "We're not just deciding the fate of the Lyrians," she told Director Washington. "We're showing every watching civilization what humanity stands for." The first human ships launched within hours, racing to deploy experimental shield technology around the most vulnerable Lyrian vessels. As Earth's vessels approached the massive alien ships, humanity collectively held its breath. The success or failure of these first crucial hours would determine not just the fate of millions of Lyrians, but humanity's place in a much larger galactic community. Operation Starbridge had begun, and with it, the greatest engineering and humanitarian challenge in human history. The next few weeks would test the limits of human innovation, courage, and compassion, and perhaps reveal whether humanity was truly ready to join a much larger cosmic civilization. Would you like me to continue with Part 3, focusing on the massive technological challenges and the first joint human-Lyrian operations? Engineering the impossible. The first human-Lyrian joint operation revealed the true scale of their challenge. Lieutenant Kira Patel stood in awe aboard the Lyrian vessel, Starweaver, her spacesuit sensors struggling to process the alien environment. The ship's interior was a crystalline matrix of living technology, now failing in ways no human engineer had ever encountered. "The power core isn't just machinery," Dr. Wei explained through the comlink. "It's a biological quantum hybrid. The Lyrians don't just build their ships, they grow them." The revelation changed everything. Traditional engineering approaches wouldn't work. Instead, Operation Starbridge evolved into something unprecedented. A synthesis of human ingenuity and Lyrian organic technology. Teams worldwide began developing new solutions. Japanese bioengineers created living conductors that could interface with Lyrian systems. Brazilian quantum physicists adapted their theoretical models to support the aliens' crystal matrices. Indian programmers wrote adaptive algorithms that could communicate with the ship's semi-conscious operating systems. But time wasn't on their side. Each day brought new crises as more systems failed. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A teenage prodigy from Kenya named Jabari Okoro, who recognized patterns in the ship's power fluctuations that matched natural biological rhythms. "The ships aren't just dying," he explained to a stunned room of experts. "They're sick. We need to heal them, not just repair them." This insight led to a revolutionary approach, treating the vessels with a combination of energy therapy and biological agents. The ships began to respond, their crystalline corridors pulsing with renewed vigor. Part 4. Bridge Between Worlds. As the fleet stabilized, humanity faced its next great challenge: helping 3 million Lyrians adapt to Earth. The first landing site was chosen in an international zone created specifically for this purpose, a vast complex in New Zealand's South Island. The arrival of the first Lyrian family captured the world's imagination. Their bioluminescent forms cast beautiful patterns across the night sky as they descended. Children were especially fascinated by the young Lyrians, who could change their light patterns to match human emotions. But not everyone welcomed the aliens. Protest movements arose, claiming Earth's resources should be reserved for humans. The situation reached a critical point when saboteurs attempted to destroy a Lyrian environmental adaptation facility. The crisis was averted by an unexpected display of Lyrian culture. In response to the attack, thousands of Lyrians gathered in the night sky above major cities worldwide, creating a synchronized light show that told the story of their journey, their gratitude, and their hopes for the future. The display was so beautiful that even the most hardened critics were moved. Meanwhile, the scientific benefits of cooperation became impossible to ignore. Lyrian quantum communication technology revolutionized global telecommunications. Their biological engineering techniques offered solutions to climate change and energy production. Human medical science advanced decades overnight through the study of Lyrian regenerative abilities. Part 5. Legacy of Stars. The true test of human-Lyrian cooperation came 18 months after first contact. Long-range sensors detected a massive object approaching the solar system. A rogue planet, ejected from its star system, and on a collision course with the outer planets. The impact would destabilize the entire solar system. Neither species alone had the capability to prevent the catastrophe, but together they conceived an ambitious plan. Using modified Lyrian quantum drives combined with human fusion technology to create a gravitational deflection field. The project required resources from every nation and pushed both species' technology to its limits. As the rogue planet approached, millions watched as the combined human-Lyrian fleet moved into position. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance. The moment of truth came as the massive object entered the deflection field. For one terrifying moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, gradually, the planet's trajectory began to shift. Cheers erupted in control centers worldwide as calculations confirmed. The solar system was saved. In the aftermath, humanity and the Lyrians formalized their partnership. The United Earth-Lyrian Council was established to coordinate joint ventures in space exploration, scientific research, and cultural exchange. Together, they began reaching out to other civilizations, offering help to those in need. Director Washington, now serving as Earth's first ambassador to the Lyrian people, reflected on the journey during the 5-year anniversary celebration of first contact. "We didn't just save a species," he said, watching human and Lyrian children playing together in the bioluminescent gardens. "We discovered who we could become." The stars are no longer a barrier but a bridge, and humanity's greatest adventure is just beginning. Above them, the night sky glowed with the lights of new ships under construction. Vessels that combined the best of both civilizations, ready to explore the galaxy together. The legacy of Operation Starbridge would echo through generations, a testament to what becomes possible when fear gives way to hope, and different species reach out to help each other across the vast distances between stars. The end.